Well, we all know that Darrell Brooks is a walking, talking contradiction. And those of us who have or constantly followed the trial say it over and over again, especially in the comment section. And I thought, let's put together a couple of things that call him out. And so here's some clips that I've put together for you guys that I think that you're just going to love. And when he says A, we're going to say B. And when he says C, we're going to say D. When he says white, we're going to say black. So enjoy, everyone.
We see these boxes right here. This box alone is 45 or 50 pounds full of so much information. I haven't even gone through half of it. It was stated for the record that the discovery, in its entirety, was brung to my housing unit on the 29th of September, which trial was scheduled, that would be a Thursday, which trial was scheduled for Monday. How can I possibly go through all that, all the paperwork, all the digital discovery and things of that nature? How can I go through all of that and be prepared in 3 days?
The court must also advise you that I can make no guarantees about your access to legal materials while in the jail. Did you hear me advise you of that?
Yes, I did.
That's a clear bias. I did not have time to prepare for this. Everything I'm doing is off the top of my head, winging it, taking it as it comes.
We can tell.
When the court is well aware that I was not prepared.
This court is further advising you, sir, that this trial will start next Monday, October 3rd.
I raised the issue that it should be an adjournment, at least. At the minimum, it should be an adjournment because of that fact. At least to let me go through all the discovery. That was denied. No valid reason was stated for that when Your Honor knew there is no possible way, humanly possible, that I could be ready for a trial of this magnitude in 3 days.
So here's the important takeaway, in my humble opinion, sir. You are being advised that I am not going to adjourn the trial that is scheduled to start next week. Did you hear me say that?
I heard you say that.
And as we sit here today, I'm still not even understanding the nature and cause of the charges. That hasn't even been proven.
Are you further informed that all of this conduct primarily relates to what has been referred to as the Waukesha parade incident?
They worded it as a different way. They call it an attack.
I don't know who they is, and I don't frankly care.
If every valid argument that I raised is taken by the court as a sign of disrespect or a sign of trying to intentionally be disruptive or causing a problem, when I'm merely seeking understanding, because I don't understand. I'm merely seeking to understand why this information has yet to be provided and we're this far into this matter.
You are advised, sir, that the judge, that's me, cannot be your attorney and cannot give you any legal advice. You are further advised that the district attorney cannot be your attorney and cannot give you legal advice.
Which brings me to the motion to subpoena witnesses. I did everything that was asked of me by the court pertaining to those subpoenas. It was understood by the court that this is my first time ever having to do this. I didn't understand how to properly fill out the subpoenas, at which the prosecution volunteered that they would give assistance. The only assistance I received was for them to check to see if it was filled out right. That was it. That doesn't amount to any assistance. I was still left to fill it out on my own, and then when I did that, correction still had to be made, which would verify.
So he doesn't acknowledge their help.
I don't know how to do this.
You are further advised that the judge, district attorney, and court personnel are not required to explain court procedures or the law. You are further advised that the judge cannot treat you any differently because you do not have an attorney. You are further advised that you will be required to follow all legal rules and procedures that an attorney would have to follow in court, and that it may be difficult for you to challenge evidence presented by the district attorney if your case goes to trial. You are further advised that it may be difficult for you to present evidence. You are further advised that if you want to testify, you must be sworn as a witness and answer questions from the district attorney. You are further advised that it may be difficult for you to do a good job as your own attorney. Did you hear the advisements that I just read to you, sir?
Yeah, I heard it.
Obviously, the court knows that I'm not privileged to the same filing system. Which brings me to the reason why I brought up the issue of assistance of counsel. Under the Sixth Amendment, I have the right to assistance of counsel. It doesn't say anything about representing yourself without assistance of counsel. Having counsel represent you and having assistance of counsel is two totally different things.
Why did you not check this box?
Because it is my understanding that representing myself pro per, I can have standby counsel. So that, in a sense, is why that box specifically is not checked.
That is not a correct statement of the law, sir.
You, Your Honor, gave me paperwork that was a waiver of counsel. We both know that any contract can be altered if I don't agree to certain terms. I crossed out everything in that paperwork that I did not agree or consent to, and specifically wrote on that paperwork that I do not waive my right to assistance of counsel. At the very least, I should have been awarded a standby counsel.
Mr. Brooks, the case law makes clear you cannot act as your own attorney, right? Exercise your right of self-representation while simultaneously exercising the right to counsel. Did you hear me say that?
Yes, I heard you say that, but that wasn't what I was attempting to do.
Not someone to represent me, to speak for me, but someone to help me do things in a timely fashion. Get things filed in a timely fashion. Get motions together in a timely fashion. Make preparations to get things done that I don't have the privilege to do
Preparations.
in my current situation of being housed at the Waukesha County Jail.
It is my understanding, sir, that based upon the motion that was filed, the waiver of attorney form that was filed, and the proceedings that have been held over the course of the last 2 days, you wish to represent yourself.
I wish to represent myself pro per, but I do not wish that my entire Sixth Amendment right not be honored. I essentially would only be agreeing to the part where I want to represent myself. Just that stipulation of my Sixth Amendment and no other stipulation of my Sixth Amendment.
Your Sixth Amendment right to counsel is pretty straightforward, sir. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to represent yourself. Those two things don't always go hand in hand. In fact, never go hand in hand.
But yet, I'm still forced to come in here with zero help.
You will have the sole responsibility to cross-examine witnesses, to present evidence, to make arguments to the court, etc. Did you hear me say that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're informed of all of that?
I am informed.
Any questions regarding that?
Not at all.
I think it's clear that prejudiced my defense. Knowing that the prosecution has everything that they need for this matter at their fingertips. And I have to jump through every hoop possible to even get things filed in a timely fashion. It was stated for the record that the unit that I'm housed in the Waukesha County Jail, and per jail administrator Angela Wallenhoff, that I'm only allowed out of my cell for a few hours a day. So I'm roughly locked down 22 hours a day.
I'm the jail administrator for the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department. I am head of the division in charge of all staff and inmate issues.
Although Mr. Brooks is under a COVID protocol, is he still allowed to review his discovery materials in his jail cell?
Yes.
Not given the privilege to access everything that I should be able to at the time that I should be if I was general population. This could have been made months ago for me to be at least in some form general population with an upcoming trial.
Sorry. To your knowledge, if you know, are his discovery materials currently in his jail cell?
Yes, ma'am, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
Reference was made to being able to use LexisNexis or whatever it's called. We call it the law library. That may be the easier way to describe it.
Who's picking berries? Did somebody
I'm
pick a berry?
only allowed to access the law library at certain times during the day.
A berry? What
The
kind of
rule
berry?
of the jail is that when you're not in the day room, you can't access the law library, which is on tablets.
Ms. Molenhop, while on COVID protocol, does Mr. Brooks have access to the tablets in his jail cell?
Yes, ma'am.
And that tablet has legal materials available for him to access if he so chooses. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
We are not allowed to have those tablets in our cells. That prejudiced my defense. How can I work on my case? How can I look up certain case laws? How can I do any of this if I don't have full access to it?
And while he is on COVID protocol, does he have access to the conference room, which also contains a computer with further legal materials?
Yes, ma'am.
And
I even suggested some type of order that could be made by the court to allow me more time out of my cell, or to talk to jail administration about allowing me more time out of my cell to be able to use those when needed. And to be frank, in a proceeding of this magnitude, there should not be even a time where I don't have access to the materials that I need.
thank you. So, Ms. Wolenhop, I was asking you about the digital discovery materials. You testified that you're aware there is a thumb drive available for Mr. Brooks' use that is maintained in his pod, and all he has to do is ask for it, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
And that in order for him to view the contents of the thumb drive, he'd have to use the computer in the conference room, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
And that is available to Mr. Brooks upon his request, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
If I'm not in the courtroom or sleeping, I should be awarded the time to work on this case, seeing as how I only had a couple days to prepare for a trial of this magnitude.
Nothing about this protocol then would limit his access to any of his discovery materials, correct, ma'am?
Objection.
Overruled. She may answer. Correct, ma'am.
And he would have access to the telephone if he wants it.
Objection.
Overruled. She may answer. Yes, ma'am.
And there would be nothing that would restrict his ability to come to court each day?
Objection.
Overruled. Correct, ma'am.
And when he comes to court each day, he has the ability to bring whatever discovery materials with him that he wants. Is that correct?
Objection.
Overruled. Correct, ma'am.
And in fact, there's a card available for him to do that if he so requests.
Objection.
Overruled. That is correct, ma'am. Correctional officers would transport it, but yes, there's a card available.
I mean, he ought to just have the objection sign tattooed on his forehead. I mean, he obviously doesn't have any issue with facial tattoos, right? So let's just go, or we could do subject matter jurisdiction, maybe a little SMJ on the cheek there, just to whatever. Anyway, those clips were only from 3 different days, you guys. First day was the day that well, the playbacks that were in black and white. That's from when he first went in and said, I'm axing my attorney. I no longer want one. Then we had the original that we played, which was from the day that he did his rant. I believe that was day 7. Not positive what day it was. Then we had from day 2 or 3 the testimony from the jail administrator who came on to the stand after Mr. Brooks decided that he wanted to play sick for the day and just go ahead and adjourn the trial just because he wasn't feeling well and he swore he had COVID. But he refused. He refused to take a rapid test. That's a whole nother video, you guys. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's little quick pick. I apologize it's taken me longer to get these out than I had hoped, but I've been doing a lot of cleaning up my files. I got too many Darrell Brooks files here, so bear with me. I'll get some more out as soon as I can. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and have a blessed weekend. Oh, and hey, happy 4th of July.